the many seasons of The Bachelor and Bachelorette, I have seen hundreds of men and women come on this show to find love. And I've seen many find their soulmates. Some have got married and even had kids. Their dream of a romantic life has come true. But not everybody is so lucky. Some of the couples that have gotten engaged on our show have not stayed together, and they parted with broken hearts. So it is with a degree of regret and sadness that I bring you this Bachelor update. Brad and Emily, it seemed like they were meant to be. All of America watched as Brad asked Emily to marry him in one of the most magical proposals we've ever had on this show. But the months after the show stopped airing were really hard on them. And as much as they tried to keep their relationship private, it was not. And while they struggled, they were tracked by the tabloids and hounded by the paparazzi. Hurtful rumors continue to this day. And Brad and Emily, keeping their silence throughout all of this, only seemed to make things worse. So, the time has come to speak out for the first time publicly. Try to help everybody understand how a couple so determined to make it work finally gave up on the love they found together. Please welcome back Emily.
Hi. Thank you. Hi. Good to see you.
Good to see you again. How you been?
I'm doing well.
Shaking a little bit?
I'm a little nervous.
All right. Why are you nervous?
I'm just scared. It's just Dad being here.
Is it?
Last time I came, it felt a lot different.
Well, why don't we go inside and talk, okay?
Okay.
Have a seat. I'm sorry to see you again like this.
I know, me too. I thought we'd be planning a wedding next time I saw you.
I know.
The last time I pulled up in a car was the first night getting out, you know, and it just brought back a lot of memories, and yeah.
So I can see you're emotional being back here in the house. What is it about this place that brings that emotion out?
I think just being by myself and not having Brad here and remembering, you know, how excited I'd get for dates.
Right.
And, you know, the rose ceremonies and all that. It's just sad.
What was it about Brad that drew you to him and drew you guys so close together while the show was on and then even after?
While the show was on, I think it was just, he's such a gentleman. You know, beyond his good looks and everything else, he's such a gentleman, and he's very good at expressing how he feels and making whoever's around him feel good, and he's just completely different than any other guy I've ever met.
And so, just to be clear, and so everybody knows, where does your relationship with Brad stand right now?
We're not engaged anymore, but he's sorry.
It's okay.
But he's, you know, always going to be a huge part of my life, and I don't, you know, for so long, I think that we left the ... And, you know, I feel bad that it's taken us this long to, you know, let everybody know, but, you know, I just finally, you know, I'm ready to say it.
Are you still in love with Brad?
I'll always be in love with Brad, you know. No one will ever hear me say a bad word about him, and nor will I tolerate anybody else saying anything bad about him, you know. Not a day will go by that I don't regret how things have turned out and wish things were different.
So, and I know this is the million-dollar question, because everybody wants to know, and I'm not saying everyone has a right to know, but because this was so public, everybody does want to know. After the Final Rose special, when you guys started anew, and I knew you guys to be going well, what happened? Like, what went wrong?
You know, like I said, the day that Brad proposed to me was one of the happiest days I can remember. And the show stopped airing, and I was going to get Ricky and I an apartment, and I was going through my house and cleaning everything out. I was so excited.
And when you say get an apartment, were you going to move to Austin?
Getting an apartment in Austin for the summer and just, kind of see how things go. And I couldn't move in with him. I have Ricky, and I
understand.
I just wouldn't do that. But little red flags would come up in our relationship, and I came to a point where I said I have to be honest with myself and with this relationship, and I realized that maybe my want for it to work out, I wanted to be married, and I wanted to have more children, and I wanted that with him. Maybe overshadowed the actual reality of the relationship.
Okay.
I didn't doubt that we loved each other. I just doubted, he was still going to want to be with me, And, I think that we both have been used to being single. We're both used to being single, and I think that that's a hard adjustment. As a single mom, I don't have the luxury of saying, I'll just figure it out when I get there. Everything will go away when I get there. I need to know that the person that I'm moving for is going to want to be with me 6 weeks down the road, much less 6 years. And I didn't have that reassurance. And maybe we didn't have what it takes to, last forever. Because when I get married, I want it to be forever. I think that's what makes this so hard, is just remembering that, and how things took such a turn, and I don't know how it happened. I wish I would have known, or that we could have done something different, and promise nobody's more disappointed about it than I am. But I wanted to do that. I felt like it was a fairy tale going through it, and I feel like everybody else did too, so I don't want anybody to feel like they were lied to. This was my worst nightmare, I just always believed that, or thought that as long as you love each other, that it'll work. And I swore that we would be the one that would, because I felt like what we had was so real, and my hopes were so high, and I wanted it so bad, and it's just really disappointing, and it feels like a failure, and you want something so bad, and then it doesn't happen, and it's just heartbreaking.